There are moments when the universe reminds us how little we truly see. Moments when silence hides what data cannot. Just a few weeks ago, the world's attention turned skyward, to the interstellar visitor known as 3I, Atlas. A harmless comet from another star, drifting by, a cosmic tourist in our solar neighborhood. But while telescopes celebrated that spectacle, something else, something far larger, slipped quietly into the same sky. It came not from deep space, but from behind the sun itself. A colossal body, cloaked by light, escaping every survey, every lens, every warning system. Astronomers didn't see it arrive. No alert, no fanfare, only silence. Now, that silence has broken. And what's emerging is a cosmic giant, nearly 100 times larger than Atlas, its tail stretching millions of kilometers across the void. They call it C, 2025 R2 SWAN. And in just 7 days, it will pass closer to Earth than any major comet in living memory. But the danger isn't impact. It's what we failed to see. Because if this slipped through unseen, what else is still hiding in the light? As long as humanity has gazed upward, we believed our sky was known, charted, predictable. Every comet, every asteroid, every fragment of ice and dust, mapped, catalogued, named. But that confidence hides a quiet truth. There are blind corners in the cosmos, regions where even our best eyes cannot see. And one of those corners lies right next to the sun. For centuries, astronomers have feared it, the solar blind zone, a corridor of brilliance where light itself becomes a wall. No telescope on Earth can pierce it. The glare overwhelms every lens, washes out every faint traveler that dares approach from that direction. This phenomenon, known as the Holacek effect, covers a slice of sky nearly 30 degrees wide. Within that slice, comets vanish. Asteroids disappear. Even worlds could pass through, unseen. It isn't a flaw in our machines. It's a law of physics. The very geometry of Earth's orbit and the scattering of sunlight create a permanent curtain of blindness, a veil that hides whatever moves sunward. For weeks at a time, every August and September, the world's telescopes are forced to look away. The sun dominates the sky, and the space near it becomes an empty page. Not because nothing is there, but because we cannot look. Through that invisible window, countless cosmic visitors may have slipped past unnoticed. Some small and harmless, others, like the one we face now, vast, active, and unpredictable. Our ancestors looked at eclipses and saw omens. Today, we look at data and see confidence. But the truth is the same, we still live beneath a sky full of secrets. September 11, 2025. The world was watching the sun. But only one man saw what no one else did. His name, Vladimir Bizugly, an astronomer sifting through streams of solar wind data from an aging spacecraft called SOHO, a silent sentinel that has orbited between Earth and the Sun for nearly 3 decades. Among thousands of ordinary readings, something strange appeared, a faint ultraviolet glow, expanding in the wrong direction. It wasn't a flare. It wasn't solar wind. It was something else, something alive with motion. Within hours, the team confirmed the anomaly. It wasn't a glitch. It was a comet. A massive body, hidden by the sun's light, now revealed only through hydrogen emissions, a spectral fingerprint invisible to normal eyes. They named it C, 2025 R2 SWAN, the 20th comet ever discovered by that old spacecraft SWAN imager, a device designed not for discovery, but for persistence. By the time its data reached Earth, the comet had already passed its closest point to the sun, its icy surface boiling under solar fire, its hydrogen cloud stretching millions of kilometers wide. No ground telescope had seen it. No warning had sounded. The world's most advanced sky surveys, all blind. For nearly a month, this cosmic giant had been moving through the solar system, just beyond our reach, brightening, outgassing, shedding dust and vapor, while humanity looked the other way. When the first images appeared, scientists were stunned. The coma, the gaseous envelope surrounding the nucleus, was enormous, so large it dwarfed Earth itself. Its brightness surged, its tail fanning outward like a living thing. To astronomers, it was a triumph of technology, a testament to the instruments that never sleep. But to others, it was something darker, proof that even in the age of perfect data, we are still vulnerable to surprise. A single object, hidden in plain sight, had slipped through our cosmic net, and now, it was heading our way. When the discovery of C, 2025 R2 SWAN reached the scientific community, the first response was disbelief. How could something so large, so active, have escaped every ground-based telescope on Earth? The data poured in: brightness curves, orbital fits, ultraviolet spectra. And what they revealed was unsettling. SWAN wasn't just another comet. It was a survivor, an object older than civilization itself, now stirring after tens of thousands of years in the deep freeze of interstellar night. Its hydrogen envelope was colossal, millions of kilometers wide, a living cloud of vapor that seemed to grow faster than models could explain. At first, astronomers celebrated: a new comet, a new story, a new chance to learn. But then came the numbers. Its orbit was wrong. Its speed, faster than expected. Its trajectory, unerringly close. In just 7 days, it would pass within 0.26 astronomical units of Earth, about 39 million kilometers, closer than Mars ever comes. A near miss, in cosmic terms. But that wasn't the real concern. What frightened scientists was the timing. How had no one seen it before perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, when comets are at their brightest? How could an object this massive remain invisible until it was already past the solar furnace? The answer was a bitter one. Every telescope had been pointed away, blinded by sunlight, scattered glare, atmospheric haze. Every system designed to protect us had been looking in the wrong direction. At the minor planet center, orbital solutions conflicted. Data from SOHO didn't align with early ground-based estimates. Some predicted a perfectly safe flyby. Others, a risk of fragment debris crossing Earth's orbital lane. Meetings grew tense. Emails flooded. Instruments recalibrated. And quietly, a realization spread: if we hadn't seen this one, how many others are already on the way? The official line was calm: no danger, no impact. But behind the press releases, scientists were watching light curves that flickered too fast, gas jets that shifted without reason, and a nucleus that refused to stay still. A few dared to say it aloud: this comet is behaving like something we don't understand. In the cold language of science, that's as close as anyone gets to fear. As data deepened, something strange began to surface. Buried within the ultraviolet readings was a spectral signature no one could explain. Every comet ever studied releases a cocktail of familiar elements: water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, dust. The chemistry of the ancient cold. But SWAN was different. Its hydrogen glow carried an extra frequency, a faint emission at 121.9 nanometers, barely detectable, but undeniably real. When researchers isolated the signal, it didn't match any known atomic transition. Not hydrogen, not oxygen, not anything expected from a natural comet. At first, they thought it was instrument noise, a glitch in the SOHO data, a processing error. But then, it appeared again. And again. Across 3 separate instruments, from 3 different observatories. Something inside the comet's coma was emitting light that physics couldn't explain. The readings were dismissed publicly as anomalous scattering, but behind closed doors, a few scientists began whispering a different word: artificial. Of course, no one dared publish that. No one wanted to become the next fringe headline. But the math was merciless. The signal was too precise, too stable, too structured. Like a beacon. Repeating. Waiting. For decades, astronomers had imagined that the first sign of another civilization might not come from a message, but from a mistake. A pattern hidden in a comet, a rhythm in the noise. C 2025 R2 wasn't a spacecraft. It wasn't metal. It wasn't transmitting radio waves. But it was doing something no comet ever had before. It was reflecting light in a way that suggested control. And that raised the question no one wanted to ask. What if this object didn't just wander into our solar system? What if it was meant to be seen? 7 days. That's all that separates us from SWAN's closest past to Earth. In those 7 days, the comet's brightness has begun to rise, from the faint shimmer of a distant traveler to a visible, ghostly bloom in the dawn sky. Astronomers describe it as unexpectedly active, but the truth is simpler. It's waking up. Every hour, its nucleus releases thousands of tons of gas and dust, painting the void with vapor so vast that entire planets could vanish inside its glow. From observatories in Chile, Japan, and Arizona, the first clear images arrive, a tale that twists unnaturally, as if responding to forces no model predicts. The comet's jets, columns of vapor erupting from its surface, seem to pulse in rhythm, not random, not chaotic, but measured. Some call it coincidence. Others call it impossible. As SWAN races closer, Earth moves into its orbital shadow. a region where the debris it sheds will begin to cross our path. Tiny particles, smaller than sand grains, moving faster than bullets, will ignite our skies as meteors, a cosmic rain from something born beyond the sun's light. But as the countdown continues, there's another silence, a digital one. For reasons still unclear, satellites monitoring the comet's trajectory have begun to lose telemetry. Data streams cut out, signal gaps widen. Even SOHO, the spacecraft that found it, reported temporary interference, as if the comet's glow itself was distorting radio space. The official reports remain calm, no danger, no anomaly, no cause for concern. But off the record, one scientist wrote, "It's as if something inside the coma doesn't want to be seen anymore." Now, with only days left before the flyby, the world watches a faint light rising just before dawn, a pale, greenish arc that wasn't there a week ago. To most, it's beautiful. To others, it's a reminder that the universe still hides more than it reveals, and that sometimes, what approaches quietly, isn't meant to pass by at all. October 27, 2025. The night arrives. The world looks up. Across continents, telescopes pivot as one, from the deserts of Chile to the frozen dark of Antarctica. C 2025 R2 SWAN has reached its closest point to Earth. No one expected what came next. For a moment, the comet flared, not in the visible spectrum, but in ultraviolet. Invisible to the naked eye, yet every sensor caught it. A pulse. A single, silent flash, lasting less than 3 seconds. Then, nothing. Astronomers called it a hydrogen shock event, a natural reaction between solar wind and ice. But the pattern was too perfect. 3 seconds on, 7 seconds off. Repeated twice. Then gone. Observers in the southern hemisphere reported a faint blue halo around the core, shifting like breath through crystal. Spectrographs showed the same impossible signature, the one no one could explain. And yet, in that moment, something else happened. Every magnetometer from Chile to Japan recorded a brief, synchronized tremor, a pulse of energy, too weak to notice, too real to ignore. It didn't come from the sun. It came from SWAN. For the rest of the night, the comet glowed softly above the horizon, its tail brushing the edge of the Milky Way, a line of light stretching farther than sight itself. To the human eye, it was beautiful. To the scientist, it was impossible. To the poet, it was divine. When dawn came, the comet was gone, its light swallowed by the rising sun, its trail fading into the vacuum between worlds. But somewhere, high above the Pacific, one satellite continued to record, a stream of repeating ultraviolet bursts, each weaker than the last, until they, too, fell silent. And then, as if the universe had exhaled, everything returned to normal. No impacts. No fragments. No danger. Just the quiet hum of space, and a single question left behind. Did something just say hello, and then move on? When it was over, there was nothing left to see. The comet faded beyond the orbit of Mars, its glow dimming, its trail dissolving into the dark. For most of the world, it became a headline that passed, Comet SWAN brightens night sky, then disappears. Another story, another spectacle, lost to the endless scroll of human noise. But somewhere, in the silence of observatories and data rooms, scientists still sift through the recordings. Frame by frame. Second by second. Searching for the pulse. The pattern. The thing that should not have been there. And every time they find it, the same question returns, not of what SWAN was, but why it came at all. If comets are the frozen memories of creation, then SWAN was a page rewritten. A fragment of something older than stars, that crossed our world for reasons we can only guess. No messages were decoded. No signals were confirmed. Only a faint ultraviolet heartbeat, repeating through the dark, like an echo of thought from somewhere far beyond. And maybe that's enough. Because in the end, every encounter with the unknown reminds us who we really are, tiny beings clinging to a pale blue world, pretending to understand a universe that still speaks in riddles. Pause, wind fades, a single note lingers, perhaps SWAN was just a comet. Or perhaps, it was the cosmos looking back, for just a moment, to see if we were watching. Music swells gently, then dissolves into silence.